I would love to. Thank you. This is my A jacket from 2004. Obviously, I got some swag. Got a little. I think I lost like our Army Navy pins because we crushed them a couple times. So. It is alumni weekend.
I've had a pretty unique career path. Well, first I worked at the athletic department as a casual second lieutenant, and then I went to Vance Air Force Base and I stayed there as a FAPE, so I taught the T-37. Then I went on and I flew the A-10. At that point I got married to my husband and kind of had to switch my career path. I went to the KC-10s in the reserve, so I got off active duty. And then now I fly the gliders here at the Academy. I help instruct and I've been here for over 10 years. I'm at 25 plus years of service. I just had my 25-year reunion this weekend, and I plan to stay in for a couple more.
I was a legal studies major with a minor in philosophy. I guess at one point I thought I was going to be a lawyer, which is kind of the cool thing at the Academy. I mean, the academics. You can study whatever you're passionate about. There's a lot of different options. I went to pilot training after graduation, and then I was a T-37 instructor pilot at undergraduate pilot training. Then I joined the reserves, and from there I've done a bunch of staff assignments. And then being a pilot in the Air Force, I mean, there's a ton of career fields in the Air Force. You can basically follow anything that you're passionate about. But there is a special camaraderie with being a pilot.
I majored in meteorology here at the Air Force Academy and then commissioned as a weather officer. I was really fortunate and had the opportunity to stay here and coach the women's soccer team for a year. And then it was off to Yokota Air Base, Japan. It's a base right outside of Tokyo. During that time, I was working in the 20th Operational Weather Squadron. So all the bases in Japan and Korea, we took care of their weather. I had the opportunity to go be the protocol officer for the Commander of U.S. Forces Japan. After I finished up my time in Japan, I had the opportunity to go get my master's degree in meteorology at the Naval Postgraduate School, which was another great opportunity. Never thought I'd have the chance to live in a place like Monterey, California. A lot of career fields have that opportunity to go on to get a master's degree or even a PhD later in your career after the academy. When I got out of the Air Force, I had a job all lined up to be a project manager at the Naval Research Lab, and it fell through at the last minute, which meant that I could go out and explore. And so one evening landed me on the Specialized Bicycles website. So I just had to find a way to frame up what had I learned at the Air Force Academy, what had I learned and accomplished in my Air Force career that would be relevant to a bike company. And in that, I am the Chief of Staff to the CEO for Specialized Bicycles. Specialized is one of the biggest bicycle companies in the world, and we are globally distributed, which again, when I think back on my opportunity that I had to live in Japan in the Air Force, really set me up well to have that lens of working with different cultures and understanding how to navigate in an international company.
I graduated here with a degree in management. I came out of here and went straight to tech school, and then I went to LA Air Force Base, one of the best places ever. It's like this small little base on the coast, and I got to live in like Redondo Beach. And then from there, I went to Ramstein, Germany, also a pretty good location. I can say I've had pretty decent locations so far. I got my master's as a second lieutenant, which I suggest. Everyone should do it right away if you can. The Air Force is awesome about letting you go and research and find your own programs and do what you think is best for your career, and it's one of those things you should take advantage of for sure.
I graduated in 2009 as a behavioral science major. There used to be a career field called behavioral scientist, so that's what I went and did, looking at the cognitive aspects and how aircraft are designed to help be effective for the pilots. So my first base was Edwards out in California. From there I went out to Kirtland in New Mexico. As an intel officer, I have different opportunities to live different bases that acquisitions isn't necessarily at, go to different exercises, just a different mission set in general.
Okay, here we go. So I majored in meteorology, similar to, I think, Beth Boyer also was a meteorologist on the team when I was there. So I studied that. I decided to go to pilot training, and I went off to fly the T6 for pilot training as kind of my first assignment. Ended up tracking C-130s. So how that works is it's about a year-long program for pilot training, and then I went off to my airframe. Got a ton of experience in the C-130, did 2 assignments in that, one in Little Rock, Arkansas, and then I went overseas. So we were able to go to Ramstein, Germany, which was a huge highlight of my career, to get to fly around Europe and Africa. first son was born there, and then we went off to switch airplanes to a KC-135, and that's where we ended up in Okinawa, Japan. Went to school, got a master's in military operational art and science. The Air Force paid for that, and now I'm at pilot training base, so I'm flying the T6, full circle.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Little Megan Dozier, who I think you interviewed, she was like a 5 or 6 year old when I used to fly out on my cross countries to see her mom, who I worked with, and I offered Megan Dozier like $10 if you can do 10 juggles, or $20 if you can do 20 juggles, because I think juggling is the secret to soccer success. And that little girl did it, and I think I probably gave her $100 for 100 juggles, and then she played at the academy, and then at reunion weekend, my sons were helping watch her little sons. That's a pretty big full circle, just how the different generations are now playing together.
So we recently moved out to Hill Air Force Base, which is up in Utah, and it's a fighter base, so there's always fighter airplanes flying over our house. And we have a little 7-year-old boy and a 9-year-old daughter, and this is their first time ever being at a base where they see those fighters. And they'll look up and they're like, what are those and how do I get to fly them? And that was the first time I was like, oh wow, like these opportunities exist, and kind of seeing it through their eyes again.
You don't realize how many incredible opportunities there are right after graduation to have a career in all sorts of different things that you may never thought you would have tried. But there's just a ton of opportunity, and including with the sports too, and all the programs that they have here. I think I look back and I'm like blown away with the amount of opportunities that we've had.
Tim Tebow was at the hotel, and so we wrote him a long note saying, hey, we're the Air Force soccer team. We really want to meet you. It would be so cool. Like, do you mind coming down to the lobby so we take a picture with you? And sure enough, we got to take a picture with him until the rest of the lobby realized who was there and came running by. And he thought it was so cool that we were going to be in the Air Force and we were the Air Force women's soccer team.
We were stationed in Stuttgart in Germany, which is somewhere flying the C-5. They only have 2 bases active duty. I never thought I'd get to go. I think that's also the thing about the Air Force. You start somewhere and there's just a lot of different options and ways things can go. And so living in Germany was definitely a highlight.
Hopefully I don't get myself into trouble here. I do remember my time at the academy, we would usually get a season pass for skiing. And I know a lot of the soccer girls, not necessarily during season because we don't want to get injured. After the season, we'd be up in the mountains just enjoying being a team still, but kind of doing something fun outside of the walls of the Air Force Academy. So opportunities like that I remember being a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Like skiing in the mountains, going for hikes, hanging out with friends. And then my experience, so we went from California to New Mexico to Washington, D.C., to Texas, to Ohio, and now in Utah. I would say the great part about moving is getting to see the country, getting to go to all those national parks within your region or take those road trips. Then also, you have new teammates.
Here come their teammates!
Who are going to be out there too. Like, it's so fun to just get a text one day from an old teammate, be like, hey, I'm moving out there too. Another opportunity I wanted to highlight was that during my time here at the academy, I was able to go study abroad and live with a family in Peru and also out in Argentina. So that's an opportunity that exists here that I don't think I probably would have gotten anywhere else. And bringing my soccer ball with me, of course.
Yeah.
That is a language in and of itself.
The hockey team always had this tradition at the end of the season when we're all kind of in the spring kind of just training to challenge each other to a game. So the hockey team would challenge us to a soccer game, and then they challenged the baseball team to a baseball game. So we played, and my husband and I were dating at the time, and it was a very intense game. I think we should have probably hired referees because it was very intense and very serious. To this day, my husband claims that they won. Absolutely is not the case. So I'm glad that I was able to set this record straight here. They did not win.
My absolute favorite thing that I got to do was for 2 different cycles, I got to play on the All Air Force team. And we go and play in the All Armed Forces tournament against all the other all service teams. Air Force won both times I played, which was great. And then from there, they pick an all-armed services team. The 2 years I got to play, we went to 2 military World Cups. We played against teams from all over the world, a lot of European teams. It was incredible soccer, probably some of the best soccer I ever gotten to play. You have Team USA on your jersey, and I got to be the captain, so walking the team out and hearing the national anthem play was a moment I'll never forget.
Marcy and I have been coaching together since 2018, and we wanted to introduce you guys to the program of all Armed Forces women's soccer, the opportunities that exist post.
The Armed Forces women's soccer team, it's really been a highlight of my career active duty, but every year we pull for applications to come try out, and it's not just Air Force, so it's all the services. All the service branches will be represented in a tryout, and then we put together a team to go compete against other countries' militaries. So it's just one of those really unique opportunities. There's a ton of history about the program that's been around since right after World War II. So it's just a really unique opportunity to go compete in soccer, like at a high level, play internationally against some really, really good teams.
Well, you know, we were some of the first women's soccer players, so the group that I went to pilot training with, there were 3 of us that played soccer together. We were there at Vance together as young lieutenants and just had a great time. So I'd just say the camaraderie, the fact that you're not leaving in debt and you have something to go do, and then I also just think they prep you so well for whatever you're going to do next. You will never regret coming here, and you get such a great just baseline for the rest of your life by going here. You make the best friends. The fact that you get to go fly or travel or do all these other awesome things that counts as school.
You know, my philosophies about how I lead or how I do my day-to-day is team-oriented, team-based, and that comes from being part of a women's soccer team and being part of a team, and I think those experiences help you as a leader.
You have to count on each other and rely on each other while you're players, but you have no idea after graduation how valuable those relationships are.
I guarantee you that Air Force life, career, like outside of the Air Force, life, anything that's like coming at you and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. There's somebody in this network who's faced it, like personal life, professional life, Air Force life. So use us as a resource. That's what we're here for.
It was good, man.
I think we sold it. Sold. Killed it. Crushed.
Wait. Okay. Woo!